Obi-Wan Kenobi Part IV is out, and as a massive fan of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, boy was it fun. My first reaction waking up this morning was a little disappointment that the episode was only about half an hour long, but they got a lot done in a short amount of time. I was happy with the pacing of not just Part 4, but also the series as a whole, because this felt like something that could have been central to the finale, and here we are with 2 episodes left. The story picks up with Obi-Wan's arrival on Jabim as he's dunked in a bacta tank to heal his burns. Last week I talked about how Kenobi and Vader have gone through similar injuries. I mean, Vader's were a lot worse, but the parallel couldn't be more obvious in Part 4, watching both characters recovering simultaneously. Of course, Obi-Wan is actually healing, while Vader seems to be just boiling in his own rage. They're both thinking back to their duel on Mapuzo, where they both failed. Vader failed to capture or kill Kenobi, and he's furious about it. Obi-Wan failed to protect Leia, and he failed to defeat Vader. Again, his greatest fear as he started this whole journey was fear of failure, that he was no longer the man he was, that he couldn't protect Leia. Now his greatest fear has been realized, and he didn't come out of it unscathed, but he's still standing. He seems more resolved than ever to not let that failure persist. There are no questions about going to rescue Leia, no hemming and hawing like he did with Bail in Part 1. Ben is starting to believe he can be Obi-Wan again. He's even beginning to look the part. His new costume is a little more distinguished, he's no longer hiding under a cloak, and of course he had his first bath in maybe 10 years. We meet O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s character, Roken, and Obi-Wan has a new level of confidence while speaking with him. Roken's fears mirror Kenobi's so well. He once failed to protect his Force-sensitive wife. He now feels a duty to protect others like her, but he is afraid Obi-Wan will attract too much attention to his hidden operation. And now Obi-Wan has taken Bail's role. Now he's the one convincing people to face their fears, stop hiding in caves, and help a little girl. And right now she is in almost the worst place she could be. Not quite Vader's castle, but the Fortress Inquisitorius is also pretty bad. By the way, hearing it called by name, as well as the Ocean Moon Nur, I loved all that stuff. And I got that spark of hope when they started talking about how nobody knows what it looks like inside the fortress. Nobody has ever been stupid enough to attack them. And I'm like, somebody was stupid enough. Cal Kestis was stupid enough. I started to think maybe they would reach out to him for help, but the fact that they didn't says that he isn't part of the path. We don't know what he's been up to in the 5 years since Fallen Order. Even if we do know the next game, Survivor, will take place at the same time as the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I assume he has remained secret and on his own, but I'm getting off topic. I liked seeing Roken and the other 2 members of the Path debating the best way to assault the fortress. They say they're not soldiers, and that is their arc in this episode. Right now, they're working to save Jedi and Force-sensitive children. They're not fighters. It's a good reminder of where the rebellion is right now, because it's not a rebel alliance. We're only 1 year after Solo: A Star Wars Story when we saw Enfys Nest and the Cloud Riders talk about a rebellion being born. We're still 4 years away from when the Andor series will take place, which will tell that story more officially, and the Alliance doesn't begin in earnest until Star Wars Rebels 7 years later. Talo wastes no time and offers to take Obi-Wan into the fortress undercover. On the way, we see him using the Force a bit. He's still struggling to move even a small object, but it's an improvement. Talo lands on the fortress and helps guide Kenobi inside underwater, which is exactly how Cal snuck in 5 years earlier, but he was able to do so without any help on the inside. I thought it was a nice touch that Tala had to override systems so Kenobi could gain entry. I guess the Empire beefed up security after Cal broke in. Meanwhile, Leia has a few scenes being interrogated by Reva. She defiantly refuses to give up any information on the path as the third sister becomes increasingly frustrated. I loved her lines about how the braver Leia seems, the more afraid she really is, and that was a lesson she had to learn at a young age too, because that line still describes Reva. She puts on this big tough face, she yells, she cuts off hands, she threatens to kill families. She is afraid, and she thinks the only way to feel like she has some control over her own life is to make others afraid of her, which connects back to what Leia says to her cousin in the very first episode. Cycles of fear and cycles of violence. Reva talks about her childhood and how everything was taken from her, and yet here she is on the edge of doing the exact same thing to another young girl. Many Inquisitors were captured and tortured into serving Vader and the Inquisitorius, and the stakes are raised as Leia is strapped into a torture device with Reva at the controls. As Obi-Wan continues into the depths of the fortress, I enjoyed the parallels to the way he will eventually sneak through the corridors of the Death Star, right down to using the Force to distract some stormtroopers. His connection continues to grow stronger, but then he reaches the tomb, which was so grim. A hallway full of dead Jedi, bodies kept as trophies, even younglings. In Star Wars Rebels, Hera says the Mustafar system is where Jedi go to die. Yeah, this scene gave a pretty horrible visualization to that statement. Everyone check on Joseph Scrimshaw from Force Center Podcast today. I hope he's alright after seeing Tara Sinube in one of those panels. Tala is able to pull Reva away from Leia, giving Obi-Wan the chance to rescue her. I'm really digging the progression of him using his lightsaber. His first ignition was in complete and utter fear of Vader. Now he's more confident, but he's still literally in the dark. He hasn't fully revealed himself as a Jedi, a heroic warrior of the light. But we're getting those baby steps, and the next couple minutes take everything a little further in a thrilling escape sequence. Again, we get more and more confidence from Obi-Wan as he's using the lightsaber and the Force together, defending Leia against Seeker droids, stormtroopers, and purge troopers, which is yet another Fallen Order connection I loved seeing. But his true test is when the glass of the base begins to shatter, and Obi-Wan has to use the Force to hold it back until Tala can take Leia to safety. And he does. He could barely move a box earlier in this episode, and now he is holding back the weight of an entire ocean moon. I love this, and it instantly reminded me of a line from the book Light of the Jedi. Being a Jedi is not about saving oneself, it's about saving others. A Jedi's connection with the Force is at its strongest when they are helping and serving those in need. Ben Kenobi had a duty to Luke for 10 years, sure, but as far as we know, Luke hasn't needed saving. Ben didn't even seem prepared to help if he were needed. His lightsaber was buried in the desert. But Obi-Wan continues to return the more and more he actively helps Leia. I love that. The rest of the escape had my heart pounding. Obi-Wan, Tala, and Leia are able to walk right by the fifth brother because he seems more focused on punishing Reva than capturing them. Their continued inability to work together is immediately contrasted by Sully and Wade, the pilots from the path who swoop in to save the day, risking their lives for a girl they've never met. And one of them does die for Leia, another step towards the rebellion and a direct fight against the Empire. Vader is ready to kill Reva for allowing Kenobi to escape, but she pulls the classic Imperial "I let them go" move. I honestly don't think she did. I think she planted a tracker in Lola as a contingency. That's still smart, but the look on her face while the pilots are escaping does not scream confidence to me. It's more like desperation. But her gambit works, and Vader lets her live, at least for now. The final scene on the ship as Leia and Obi-Wan escape is very sweet. They fully trust one another now, and Kenobi seems like he has finally found a connection with anybody for the first time in 10 years. I wouldn't say Obi-Wan is fully back yet, but he's well on his way. Surely he will be tested further in the following 2 episodes, because now it's not just about protecting Leia, it's about protecting the entire path, Jedi and Force-sensitive children. Luke and Leia are important, of course, but they're not the only people in the galaxy who need protecting. I think we're going to see Obi-Wan stand in their defense, where at the start of the series, he wouldn't lift a finger to help Nari. But that's all speculation for next week. I thought Part 4 was great, an excellent balance of tension, action, and themes. And I'm excited that the assault on Fortress Inquisitorius happened here when I was previously guessing it would be in the finale. I have no idea what's coming in the final 2 weeks, and I love that. What did you think of Part 4? Let me know in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for all our Obi-Wan Kenobi coverage, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page for even more, like our video reactions and audio commentaries for the episodes. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.